So today is the first day of Packers OTAs, today, which is May 20th. It's going to be 9 different days ending on June 6th. And then the Packers will have mandatory minicamp from June 11th through 13th, which means we are slowly progressing to the season. It's taken a while, but we're slowly getting there. The draft has happened. Now we're having these players coming back to Green Bay, having these, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, coming up soon. But I want to go over some of the biggest things I'll be watching as these OTAs take place, and I will share different updates from whatever comes out from these Packers practices. And of course, this isn't training camp, so it's not like these battles are going to be finished, these positional battles. We'll see lots of that take place during training camp, but maybe we get some kind of idea about what's going on with some different positions here in OTAs as these players start, competing a little bit. And so I want to touch on 3 of the biggest positional battles I'll be watching, and then also a little bit on Jordan Love and the contract situation, what's going on there. So first off, I think the most intriguing thing I'll be watching throughout the rest of the offseason through training camp as we get close to the season is this offensive line battle, because there's just so many potential moving pieces. There's so many players who could play at different spots, and it really comes down to, finding those best 5 offensive linemen. You have the Packers drafting first-rounder Jordan Morgan, who could potentially play left tackle, so we'll have to watch there the left tackle battle. Will Morgan win it? Will it be Rasheed Walker, who played there mostly last season after David Bakhtiari got injured? And let's say if Jordan Morgan does win the left tackle job, what happens at right tackle? Will Rasheed Walker switch to right tackle? Will Zach Tom go to guard, center? Will Morgan go to guard? There's just so many different factors, so many different moving things here, depending on who wins that left tackle job and what the Packers want to do with the rest of the line. It does sound like the Packers are pretty confident in Josh Myers being their center, but you never know what could happen. Maybe Jacob Monk, Packers draft pick, who has the ability to play center, will be competing with Myers, but it sounds to me from these different coaches' comments that it sounds pretty locked in that Myers will likely be the center. But as I said, you never know. But we'll see as well. Right guard, is it going to be Sean Ryan? Will it be Jordan Morgan, Zach Tom? Do the Packers want to keep Tom at right tackle, or do they think they'll be better off moving him to guard and having either, Jordan Morgan or Rasheed Walker at right tackle? There's so many different questions, and so I'm curious to see what happens through these OTAs, mandatory minicamp, to see if we'll get any kind of idea as to what the Packers are thinking. And we'll probably get to see, where they're testing different guys out, and then eventually, we'll see what sticks. Last year, Zach Tom, Yosh Nijman were competing for that right tackle job, and pretty quickly in training camp, Zach Tom, really solidified that role. And so we may not, get full clarity until training camp, but we'll keep an eye on it here. The next one is running back, the running back battle for the second running back spot. Josh Jacobs, no doubt, locked in as the number 1 guy. The Packers brought him in for a reason. He's still, I'd say, one of the better running backs in the NFL. And now the question is, who's going to be that number 2 guy? You got Marshawn Lloyd, drafted in round 3 in this draft. You have A.J. Dillon coming back. You have Emmanuel Wilson, who averaged about 6 yards per carry last season when he was healthy. If I had to guess right now, before we see anything, my guess would be Marshawn Lloyd wins the second running back job. I think that he would be a nice complement to Josh Jacobs. He has a ton of speed, tons of explosiveness, different kind of back than A.J. Dillon. And so my prediction right now will probably be Marshawn Lloyd winning that job, with the Packers using a third rounder on him. But that will be the spot to watch. Will A.J. Dillon be able to hold that role? Emmanuel Wilson, can he potentially be a sleeper there? Because I think he's a very talented back. But I think when you have that investment in the third round with Marshawn Lloyd, that's why I probably lean towards him getting that spot. Then you also have Ellis Merriweather and Jarvian Howard. But I would bet that those guys, don't really have a shot at that number 2 job. Maybe they do have a chance at number 3. We'll just have to keep an eye on it and watch that battle. Then the third one is the kicker battle, because the Packers, of course, have Anders Carlson, who they drafted last year. He struggled a ton this past season, as we witnessed. Just was not consistent, missed a ton of field goals, missed a big field goal in that 49ers game. And so the Packers decided to bring in Greg Joseph, veteran kicker, who had previously been on the Vikings. But he wasn't that much better than Anders Carlson last year. They were pretty similar when it came to their field goal percentage last year. And so the question is, who's going to win this battle? Because right now it doesn't seem like either is a fantastic option based on last year's stats and what they did last season. But one of them will, need to come through, and hopefully one of them can find some consistency this season. And I think just to have some competition in there, it's always good to have competition. It'll push Anders Carlson to, really try to solidify that job and take strides forward from where he was last year. And then you also have Jack Podlesny, who has been here for a little while, and he has a chance here as well. So we'll keep an eye on that battle. And then I'm just curious when it comes to the Jordan Love contract situation. There hasn't really been any more updates on what's going on right now. Jared Goff recently got the deal. And now with the Packers coming into OTAs, there's always a chance a quarterback could sit out. I saw Tua Tagovailoa did not sit out for the first day of OTAs, and I doubt Jordan Love will, even though, he technically could. I wouldn't fault him for it. If you're trying to make a ton of money and maybe you want to sit out until you get that money, that's understandable in my opinion. If I had to make a guess, I would say he's probably going to participate even if he doesn't have a contract. But that's just something to watch, and I think there's no doubt the Packers are going to get this contract done before the season starts. The question is, how long is it going to take? And honestly, right now, we just haven't got any other updates, so it's really hard to predict when this will happen. But there's lots of contract talks going on with, Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars, Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott. There hasn't been that much progress, seemingly, with the Cowboys and Prescott. But there's other quarterbacks in a similar position as Jordan Love. And so I do think those guys affect each other because the longer you wait, the more money you'll probably get. And so it could be, a cat and mouse game where these quarterbacks are trying to just hold off as long as possible to get, the money that they think they deserve. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Maybe we'll get some news during OTAs that the Packers have inked Jordan Love to, a 4-year, 5-year, $200+ million deal, which I do think Jordan Love has 100% earned. So that is it for this video. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll keep you guys up to date with what goes down here at OTAs. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.